RWBY Chibi Season 2, Episode 18, The Fixer. This is definitely an awesome episode. Not only did we get Junior Detectives in the middle, which actually, naturally, Junior Detectives always ends up being my favorite, but I really loved both the beginning and the ending skit, which was like, just one big skit put together, but they split them up. They did that before. I think it was with the, it was kind of like the teachers thing where it was like the heroes did class and then the villains did class at the end. It was kind of the same idea, except this was definitely the same thing. But I loved it the whole way through. It was definitely funny. All the stuff they did with Taeyang was absolutely amazing. Like him, when he first goes in, it's like, as long as I'm around, you guys don't have to worry about plumbing, electricity, and like in the middle of the light flickering, he's like, ignore that. And I forgot what the last thing was that he said. It was something else that I couldn't actually do. But it was really well done. He just puts a bunch of tape on the water, which they actually go back to a little bit later with Yang, where, of course, she's got issues with Bumblebee. And he comes along, and that was probably my favorite part of everything that he did, when he's like, oh, well, at least let me build you a bonfire so you can, throw all your money away. And then he got super mad at the end. He was like, oh, and while you're at it, throw my body in there, because apparently I'm dead to you. And that just really made me laugh, because it was just like him talking about how she's kind of wasting her money, and then it went into like this super dark route where she just like doesn't care about her father or anything because she wants to go to an actual mechanic. So, of course, he guilts his daughter into letting him work on the motorcycle, which he sucks at. Like, the way they did it I thought was perfect, because she literally goes forward and then slides backwards and then it goes forward in a very clunky, slow fashion. So I thought that was actually a really great way to do it. And then, that's when RWBY pops up in the background, basically on a geyser, because the pressure just built up and, exploded. So I thought that was a great start to the episode. And then, of course, we get Junior Detectives, which was awesome. And Pyrrha and Nora actually want to be Junior Detectives, and that was super awesome. Like, I love the way they did that, where, of course, Sun and Neptune, they aren't the greatest. They do technically get stuff done if you kind of go back to some of the Junior Detective stuff, but typically, they're like halfway doing it, and just something silly happens. Maybe they get it, maybe it just, passes them by, they don't even understand what's really happening. So, they're like, you can't be detectives, you can't just put on a mustache and that's it. And then Pyrrha goes into like real, detective mode, and it's like, you've got chocolate on your fingers, you got a candy wrapper in your pocket, your eyes are dilated. And I like the way they did that part, because his eyes were tiny at first when she opened his eyes, and then they got like super big when she said they were dilated. And it's like, you ate Neptune's chocolate, and it's like, well, that's just a lucky guess. And then Nora literally pulls a skeleton out of their closet, and they do the CSI Miami thing, which I absolutely love, which is why I chose that for my thumbnail, because that was just perfect. But it was really funny. I really love that. And then, of course, it goes back to the whole fixer thing with Taeyang and the girls. And it was like, okay, well, it's like, oh man, the computer's busted and stuff like that. And then that was like their way to trick him, because he just can't fix computers. But of course, he's their dad, and he thinks he can do everything else. He was like, no big deal, I can totally fix that. And of course, they do that so that he can't bother them with real issues that they're having, because he never even figured out how to change his wallpaper. So I love that. And of course, the way it ends was great, because, the dentist thing, that's what it was in the beginning of the episode. The third thing was dentistry, and his tooth would literally shoot out of his mouth. And I thought that was the funniest thing. It was like, it was there, and it would actually shoot out of his mouth. I think it even had like a little trail to it. So, love the way they did that at the beginning. And then, of course, at the end, where it's like, this says you have cookies. You could read it, it said, your computer has cookies enabled. So I thought that was really funny. It's like, this thing says you have cookies, and like, it's bad for your teeth. And of course, his tooth just shoots out and lands right on the table. So great way to end the episode. Loved, technically it was 2 skits, just the first one was split into 2 parts. But I love both of them for sure. All 3 moments were definitely hilarious to me. So we all had a great time. Short episode too. It was, I was kind of upset. I was like, oh man, it's only 3 minutes, which most of them are kind of in that range. I think it was like 3.5. Especially the last episode was definitely in the same range. But I was like, oh man, it's a, shorter episode. Typically, if it's not like at 4 minutes, I'm like, oh, it always seems like it's so much shorter. But, 30 seconds can make a difference. But, going into it, I was like, no, they definitely jam-packed a lot of good stuff into like the 3 minute and 28 seconds that the episode was actually on. Even less than that, because the ending was, the credits and stuff like that. But really well done episode. It really made me laugh. It was very simple. But we got to see a decent amount of characters. I feel like we haven't seen Pyrrha in forever, to be totally honest. I feel like Nora's been in it a lot this season, but I feel like we just haven't seen Pyrrha like at all. We've seen her, I think, maybe in 2, possibly 3 other episodes, but it was cool to see her in there. So I was definitely happy about that. Taeyang has definitely showed up a lot more. I think a lot of the newer characters, they've done a lot more last couple of episodes, so it was cool to see him there. But it was definitely a good episode all around, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And of course, with this episode focusing on Taeyang and the girls, I would love to know what adult child interactions you guys would like to see done in the Chibi version of the show. Because we've gotten a little bit of that with Crow. I think they did technically 2 episodes of him kind of being there. They did the stuff where I think it was RWBY and Yang got in trouble, where it was just RWBY, and then Crow and Taeyang went to talk to Ozpin, and it was kind of their thing. But we'd love to know what adult characters you guys would like to see have silly interactions with the kids. I would love to see RWBY come back. I think that'll be great because we haven't really gotten too much out of him. Definitely not interacting. We've seen him, I think, once again 2 or 3 times. But we'd love to see a skit where it's focused on him, maybe outside of the school, and it's him with the kids, them going on a field trip or something. I think would be great. I think that would be a really cool, funny thing to see in the Chibi version of the show. That would be funny to see in the actual version because we've technically had that already. It just was a bit more serious because we were actually getting lessons about the world. But that was really cool. Definitely a fun episode, like I said. We'd love to know what interactions between the adults and the kids, what team-ups and silly combinations you guys would like to see. And of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.